Hello, team. It's time for the Daily Detangler. Hello. Let's talk about engaging to learn. And Catalyst was talking to me yesterday, and he's like, hey, we got to use the scripted response. It's the key to everything. And you may have seen his emails that he sent out about the importance of using the scripted response. And one of the things I did last week was a detangler on that, building off of what Clarity had put together. And I thought I would do a bit of a detangler on that today about putting the scripted response into action. The first thing I thought when he put this out, hey, we got to use the scripted response. The scripted response is going to unlock everything for us. I thought,
boy, that sounds like fortune cookie wisdom to me, Billy.
No, that's just logic.
Why does he want to focus on the scripted response so much? What's up with that? And why is it so important? And how is it going to help us be successful? And why is it the starting point for moving together as a team and creating a momentum with each other? And how does it bring us together? All of these things that he's talked to me about, how does that work? And why is it important? And how do we use it? How do I use it? So when I first saw the scripted response, blah blah blah. Can I replay back what I'm hearing? Sure. Okay, I'm going to use my own words because I have to be able to represent your view. Is that okay? Sure. What I heard was ... and then have them confirm or correct. When I first saw this, I was like, I already know how to communicate. This seems kind of controlling, that he wants to define and mandate my interactions. I don't necessarily talk this way, but I've seen him do this. That's a catalyst technique. It's for him. Blah blah blah. Doesn't that kind of minimize what the other person's saying? Oh boy, this is going to take a long time. If we all do this, we're going to be in this infinite loop of, can I replay back what I'm hearing? And then how would that work on asynchronous recordings? And then so once I got over the kind of the initial task view of this, right? Because my lens on this, when I look at it, is very task driven. Like, what are the steps and how is this going to work? And what's the task involved here? And can I check the box? I asked myself, why? And one of the things that I talked to Catalyst about was just this idea of, okay, I understand you're saying it's really important. How is it going to unlock things for us? And how is it going to bring us together? What do you mean by that? And he shared. And then I tried using this. The interesting thing about it is, it didn't feel natural to just use it. I shared this on the other detangler. I didn't necessarily find it easy to just insert myself right into this understanding. Usually the conversation just moves through, or I'm just in listen mode only. But with some situations and some interactions, I've found myself recently injecting, hey, let me replay back. Can I replay back what I'm hearing? And just working on that, approach or that technique of just inserting myself there and then following this response and then watching what happened. So what I thought I would do is say, well, what is it now? After a couple of weeks of using this, what is it now? And I built this little device here about how does this work and what am I seeing with regard to how this works. Now, this may not be how you view this scripted response, but to me right now, it helps me learn, LEARN. And there's some process steps here and then there's kind of a tone that I've found is important. So listen, make sure I'm listening, then empathize, this idea of really understanding the situation, asking for permission to repeat back or replay what I'm hearing. And then this tone that I try to set, which is a kind of a neutral, non-confrontational space. This being eager to listen, but not eager to solution or to share my point of view. So when I break down learn into this like technique, and then I tried to use it, I said, well, this is helping me put it into action. So instead of just calling it the scripted response, I'm like, what am I going to learn? And so when I'm engaging with somebody, what can I learn from them? What can I learn through the situation? What can I learn about them as a person? What can I learn about the situation? What can I learn about what they're really seeing? And how do I explore that? So learn is this thing that I've been trying, and learn is this idea of listen, empathize, ask, replay, and remain neutral. So listen, don't just hear what the person is saying. Empathize is receive what they're saying and relate it to their situation. Ask for permission in their own words. Replay what I'm hearing, and then set the vibe. So what I thought I would do on the detangler today is kind of break those down. And what's the checklist for each, so to speak, and what would be the way in which to do it. So for listen, I'm thinking, as I'm trying to apply this learn technique and scripted response, how do I this anticipate that I need to replay it back? So not just hearing the words, but saying, okay, to myself, anytime I'm trying to learn or apply this scripted response, I need to repeat back or replay. So therefore I need to listen with the intent to replay. And I really need to make sure that I'm engaged there. So pay attention, minimize distractions, focus on what the other person's saying, listen for meaning, not just the words. And then ideally in a situation, especially on Zoom, being able to look at the person, look at me. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Look at me, right? But that helps. That helps. So for empathize, put myself in the other person's shoes, and really try to emote and feel it. Not with the goal of getting too wrapped around it, but not turning it off either. I think in what I've learned in this technique is I was never really processing the emotion or the situation or the feeling of what was happening. I would just listen to the words. So I put E here as this part of this scripted response technique. To me, is really empathizing, or at least trying to, and then being patient with that, understanding that they actually might need to figure out the words to say. Trying to create space and relate to the situation. Not trying to fix them. I'm actually not responding. I'm just receiving, but attempting to see what they see. I think that's why the visualization, or the idea of we need to draw some things out, not with the goal of coming up with the answer, but drawing things out to visualize empathetically, right? And that's how I've started thinking about creating visuals, is if I can engage in this learn technique or this learn approach, it's instead of creating a visual as an output, I create a visual and ask myself, does that represent what I'm hearing, right? And that helps me empathize. So visualization is important, I think, and to me, in what I'm learning with this scripted response technique. And then suspending my selfishness, right? Like, it's not about me, it's about what they're saying and what they're feeling and what they are hearing and what they're experiencing. And can I understand that experience through what they're saying, right? And really engage in that. Then A is, of this scripted response is ask. Ask and acknowledge the person's situation. Ask, can I replay that back? But ask the question, not just start replaying it back. Ask for permission so that they provide that permission, and they provide the leniency or the leeway for you to use your own words. And so if I share what I'm hearing and I ask permission first, they can build off on me and they can build on top of, and they don't feel like they're correcting me, right? So it creates an environment where we can have kind of a back and forth, because I've asked for permission to use my own words and invited them in acknowledging what they're saying. I've invited them in to help create this shared understanding that happens. And then, I need to be open when I share my replay in the next step that they might build off of it, or maybe even adjust it, or, that's not quite what I meant, right? But again, asking with this space to create shared understanding, to create this pause, to create this container for shared understanding to happen. And then that shared understanding comes from this idea of replaying what I'm hearing, summarizing what I heard, sharing some of the main points, using my own words, and not necessarily giving them an answer, but recognizing that they may have shared from their perspective and may not have all the words. So not trying to embellish what they say, but by providing back in a structured way and replaying back in a structured way that's succinct, and leaning in, I can encourage them to build or adjust or refine what I'm sharing. And that's happened a couple of times where I've shared, and because we're working with smart people who move fast and they're triangulating so many things, that when I provide my replay, they're like, that's not really what I meant. It's funny, the first time that happened, I'm like, oh crap, I probably messed up my replay, so that is interesting. There's a skill piece there around the replay, right? And to me, it has to do with, I was being a little bit less engaged on the listen and empathize piece. So I'm going to try now, moving forward, to apply this technique, LEARN, to see if I can get my replays tighter. To me, that's how I could measure this, is like Catalyst, when he does his replay, the person usually 99% of the time agrees with what Catalyst said. I've tried it 2 or 3 times, and if I've done it three times so far, 2 out of 3, they've adjusted my replay. So 2/3 of the time, I need to tighten that up. So it'll be interesting to see if this approach, which is why I built the detangler today, I need to be a little bit more formulaic about it, see if this approach here gets me a tighter replay. And then N is neutral, and it's this vibe, set the vibe that it's unbiased, that my listening is not biased or filtered, and I'm not trying to listen so that I can use their words back against them or come up with my own answer or push my own agenda. And I'm also through this neutral piece here, setting a kind of a tone that I'm in, and I'm showing, and I'm leaning into the now. And I've talked about this on several detanglers, but being present and being in the now. And that idea of stay neutral is also staying, getting out of gear. Like, just if you have a stick shift car or a motorcycle, you can take it out of gear and take the RPMs down, still keep moving forward and coast. And that feeling of coasting and being in neutral helps me create this space that I think is important in the scripted response to learn. So when I'm borrowing from the clarity checklist view, but this is what clarity put together by engaging with this learn technique, the scripted response technique. I learn, and the people involved also learn. And what happens there is there's this collaboration that comes. So that's my view on this scripted response and learning into the conversation. Like, it's a play off of leaning into the conversation, but learning into the conversation. How do I learn into that and learn by listen, empathize, ask, replay, and remain neutral. And I think that's part of creating the right experience and creating an experience together. I talked about this, and I think one of the inherent things about experiences is that they're with somebody, or that there's a acknowledgement that it's engaging and interacting with the environment. And the scripted response and learning into that response and following the scripted response creates this experience where there's a seed of shared understanding. And that seed of shared understanding creates a way to build off of each other and improvise together and be creative together. So that's part of this principle number one, which is, it's the experience stupid. So that's my take on the learn scripted response. If you don't like that, let me know. If you want to adjust any of the content here, I'm trying to use this as a checklist. I've got it printed out, and I'm going to keep learning and trying to learn into the conversation that I'm having and follow the scripted response. So I look forward to your feedback, and have a great day. Take care.